Assalamu alaikum. Hello, my fair ladies and fair little men. Are you all fasting? Oh, yes, I'm sure you are. How nice. Alhamdulillah. We are lucky to see this blessed month this year. Which month is it? Ramadan. So we are all excited and happy because हम जो भी करेंगे, whatever we do, the rewards will be multiplied. If we are honest, if we tell the truth, if we work hard, we'll be blessed many times over because this is the month of mercies. If we help others to open their fast, especially those who can't afford healthy, good food, so we help them with their iftari and their meals. Yes. If somebody is sad, we help them, we invite them over. Excuse me. So we will get so much of sawab and awards and blessings. So isn't that exciting? And do you know when was Quran Majid revealed? Yes, it was revealed and it was brought to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the month of Ramadan. Yes, that's right. And and then we should pray, we should read Quran, yes, and we should think about every word and try to understand. We can read translations in any language you want to and ask questions. Yes, this is the most blessed month and we'll be most blessed if we read Quran Majid in this month. So I wish you the best and remember everybody in your prayers, and my message as always is be good to your parents and be kind to others. Yes, and especially those who need help. Charity, yes, it's a very important ritual, yes, all around the year. It should be a part of our lives, but especially in Ramadan. Yes. You can ask elders what zakat is. Yes, very good. I know you're all nodding your heads. I can see that. Wonderful. So we begin our Ramadan, month of Ramadan, with the story of Prophet Moses, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. Have you heard of him? I'm sure you have. Yes. So let's begin. Let me have a sip of tea. So the story begins from Egypt, where which was ruled by pharaohs. They had a special uniform. It was ruled by pharaohs. I made this specially for you so you remember. Yeah. But this time they had a pharaoh in Egypt who ruled over them. And he was what? His name was Pharaoh. Now, Pharaoh was a very ruthless, merciless, hard, strict, cruel, mean ruler. And he had made Israelites. Now, children of Israel were those who had descended from Prophet Yaqub, Prophet Yusuf, Hazrat Yusuf alayhi salam and Hazrat Yaqub alayhi salam. He thought he was the God. So, and he treated them badly because he did not want them to give any importance for being descendants of Hazrat Yaqub. So he kept them as slaves. He had bought them, and they had to do whatever they were told to do. They were always commanded to do the hardest jobs, and if they made a little mistake, they were punished so badly. So he was a tyrant. He was horrible. He was not kind. So now one day he had a dream. He had a dream that there was a ball of fire coming down on on Egypt, and then that burned the houses of all Egyptians, but not the Israelis, not the Israelites. No. And he was shocked. He woke up in the middle of the night. He was worried. What does this mean? Well, he had a lot of wise men and magicians and, prophetic people. So he called them over and told them his dream. And when they all interpreted the dream as that a boy child will be born who will bring Pharaoh's death and downfall and his kingdom. Oh, this because he was so proud of himself. He was so proud of his riches, his kingdom, and everything that he had, and the power he had, and he made his Egyptians worship him like God. He said, I'm the God, how can I be destroyed? So then he had a special minister, Haman, and Haman advised him that they should get any boy who was newborn should be killed. So now in Egypt, amongst the Egyptians and the Israelites, if any boy was born, he was snatched from the mother and killed. Now, isn't that a very cruel thing to do? Now, in one home was born Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, Prophet Moses. He was a little baby. His mother was so worried about him. She was so worried, and oh my God, she was really worried. What should we do? What should I do? How can I hide my son? Soon people will come and take my boy away. And then she felt as somebody is telling her to take a baby, pack it up, and put it in a basket and let it flow in the river Nile, and he will be protected. So she did as she was told. And she wrapped, and in the middle of the night, she took the baby, bundled it up, and just let it flow. And she was crying. She didn't know, but somehow she was convinced. She felt somebody telling her that everything will be all right. Then she told her daughter, who was a grown-up, much older, and told her to run after the basket and see where it landed. So at least she'll have an idea where her son was. So that's what the daughter did. And mother was broken-hearted. She went back home crying and missing her baby. The day he was born, she knew there was something special about him, something angelic, something very, very different and unique about him. Anyways, she came back home, and the sister kept running after the basket. It's River Nile, but she didn't give up. She was a brave girl and an obedient daughter, and she loved her brother. But as the basket was flowing and flowing, guess where it reached? It reached the Pharaoh's palace. Yes, and in that part of Nile, the queen, his wife, was taking a bath with her ladies. And then she saw this basket. She became very curious. She wanted to know what was inside. And when she opened it, she saw a beautiful angelic baby. She fell in love with it, and she hugged it, and she cried, and she was so happy and excited. Pharaoh had never seen his wife so emotionally charged and so, oh my God, itni khush excited, she begged him, can I bring him up as my own baby? Can I? And I'll look after him and we'll raise him as our own son. Pharaoh could not say no to his wife because she really requested him. And she was a good woman. So Pharaoh agreed. Little did he know that this boy might be the one. Anyways, so Pharaoh's wife brought up Prophet Moses, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, with love and care, of course, and he lived like a rich prince. But before we go there, now, when he was brought, he was a newborn baby, he needed milk from his mother. They tried, in those days they used to hire women to breastfeed their babies, to nurse their babies. That's what they did, tried so many women, but no. And then the soldiers brought Hazrat Musa's sister, and they said she was following the basket. Oh, poor thing. She said, no, ma'am, I was just curious about this basket. I just wanted to know what was inside. Well, then she saw they were all worried because Hazrat Musa alayhi salam was not taking milk from any other mother, any nursing mother. She said, I can help you. I know a woman who might be able to feed him with her milk. Oh, they said, okay. And quietly, they took her back to her home. She didn't tell them that this was her mother. And Hazrat Musa alayhi salam's mother was brought to the palace, to the queen. And when she held Musa, she didn't tell anyone that she was the mother. And Musa started taking milk from her right away. Everybody was shocked. But then Pharaoh said, okay, now you'll have to stay in the palace and nurse the baby till he outgrows the feeding stage. And oh wow, she was so happy that she'll be able to see her son. And so she nursed and she looked after, and he lived like a prince in the castle, grew up. And with education and privileges, he grew up to be a very kind, very wise and smart young man. So now people would come to him for advice when they were in problem. Yes. So, but then what happened was, he was very kind and he did not like to see Israelites being tortured and being hit and murdered by the soldiers, even if they made a little mistake. One day he was passing by the street, and what he saw was that a soldier was cruelly hitting an Israelite. He stopped him, but the soldier would not listen to him. But he asked him why he was. The soldier said, you have nothing to do with it. I have been ordered by the Pharaoh, by the king, by a god. He said, but why are you doing? But he wouldn't stop, and he was about to kill that Israelite, and something happened, and Hazrat Musa hit that man, and he fell and he died. Oh my God! Prophet Moses, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, was so shocked, felt so bad and guilty that he had killed a man, though he had no intention, no niyat, no, nothing at all. Oh my God. Then he knelt down and prayed to Allah and said, please forgive me, this was unintentional, you know my intentions. Okay, and then he hid it, but he hid himself. But the next day, nobody found out about that because the soldier was dead. The next day he saw the same Israelite having another fight with another one. Now he said, you're picking fights everywhere. Why are you doing this? So that Israelite whose life had been saved begged forgiveness. So, I know you killed that soldier for me. Oh my God. At that very moment, Pharaoh's soldier was passing by and he overheard that Prince Musa alayhi salam had killed a soldier. Now that was a big sin, and anybody who killed anybody except the Israelites was hanged to death. Now, Prophet Moses realized, oh my God, what am I going to do? But he went home the next morning as he was strolling around just to see what was happening in the kingdom in Egypt. A man came running after him, told him, Prince Moses, you have to, you better hide, because now the soldiers have told Pharaoh that you killed a soldier and they'll arrest you. They're looking for you and they're going to arrest you and punish you to death. When Prophet Moses heard that, oh my God, he got frightened and he started running, and he kept running through the desert. He had not picked up anything because he had left the city, the town, in a rush. And he kept walking for days, for hours and hours. And they spent the night in desert. He was exhausted. His feet were hurting. And he was exhausted and hungry and thirsty. But he kept going. He knew the soldiers might get to him. Okay, and as he was walking, then he heard a sound of water. And he saw a hole of water. And then he saw some men there. And he saw a tree. And he went and sat underneath it. Oh, no, that was great. So he went and sat underneath that tree. He was taking a relief. He was so tired to even get up and take a drink of water. He just wanted to rest for some. But then, as he was always used to looking around if anybody was in trouble, he would not think about himself. Then he saw two girls standing at a very distance. बहुत दूर खड़ी थी और वो देख रही थी और उनके पास there was a flock of beautiful cute little sheep. They were thirsty too because this was a desert, right? Yeah. So then he wondered, and they looked a little frightened and anxious. So he went to them and he greeted them with respect and said, young ladies, how can I help you? And they told him that they came for water, to water their sheep, to feed the sheep here. But they had to wait for all the men to take the water. Women were not allowed. They had to wait, and once they had all taken water, drunk water and washed up, then they were the last to have their turn and feed their sheep with water. Oh, he said, maybe I can help you. He said, you come with me, follow me. And he went through the group of men and saw that there was a hole and there was a huge, heavy stone on it. Oh my God. With one hand, he picked up such a heavy stone. Everybody was shocked. And these women were allowed right away to feed their sheep because he was a man, right? And there was something about him. And soon they were done with the sheep. They thanked him and they went home. But when they reached home, their father was surprised. How come you're so early back home? Because it took them hours to get water for their sheep. And they said there was a gentleman, very kind. He helped us to get water before the other men could do. And so we were able to come back home. Oh, the father said, he seems to be a kind man and I must thank him for his kindness. Go call him and bring him home. We must at least give him a feast of food and say thank you properly. So one of the sisters went to Prophet Moses and asked him that her father was calling him because he had helped them. He said, okay. So he followed her to her home. And there Prophet Moses met her father, and they were very he was pleased to see him because he was such a gentle man. Prophet Moses, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, was so polite and so kind, and they were really impressed by him. So the girl's father said, the two sisters' father said, why don't you stay with us? Because Hazrat Musa alayhi salam had told him his life story. Now you're safe. You are safe. And you're safe from everybody, from Egypt. It's very, very far away. Nobody is going to harm you. You stay with us. And then his behavior was so good, so courteous and polite, that the father asked him to stay. He could stay with them for a few days. Well, Prophet Moses, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, was really relieved to hear that. He needed some respite. But after a few days, the father was so pleased because he was so helpful and kind and quiet and hardworking and least demanding. He asked Prophet Moses that, you're such a nice person. I would like to marry off one of my daughters to you, but only on one condition, that you serve me and look after my farm and my family for 8 years. Prophet Moses was very happy to do that. He needed a home, he had left his family, he had nowhere to go, and he needed security and quietness and good work. So he said yes. And so he was married to one of the daughters of that man. And he worked there. They lived happily, and he did whatever he could for them. And then soon 10 years passed. Yeah, and suddenly now he had fulfilled his promise of 8 years. Remember, always keep your promise, keep your word, never break your promise, never say lies. Yes, and then that's what God wants us to do. The rosa is not only for food. Rosa is also for the eyes and the nose and the mouth and the ears. We should not see, we should not do, we should not speak anything bad or wrong. Is that clear? So then, after 10 years, suddenly Prophet Moses, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, felt that he wanted to go back home. Though he was scared, he wanted to go back home and be with his family. All right, but then he was scared to go back. He knew he'll be arrested. He was a fugitive. He had run away. He had committed a sin. Well, but then he heard a voice telling him, go back, go back. Yes. And well, then he told his wife that it was about time that he should visit his family and his home, and she'd bring along. She agreed, and the father agreed. So both of them, Prophet Moses, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, and his wife and his family, they started walking towards the city of Egypt. Yes, and it was really far off. They kept walking day and night, but they had food and water with them. They could survive. And then one day, now Prophet Moses, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, realized that they were in Sinai. Yes, a very important place. And when he was in Sinai, they were tired and it was night time, so he put up a camp and it was cold. So he told his wife that he'll go and look for some trees or branches here and there somewhere so they could light a fire. And the wife agreed. He put up a camp there and she was inside safe, and he started walking towards some mountain and thought maybe there'd be some trees there. As he was walking, he saw fire on top of Mount Tur. Yes, That was the mount where he spoke to Allah, to God for the first time. Yes, that's where he was told he was to be the prophet. So he had been preparing for this. For 10 years he had been living with the family, working quietly, meditating, praying, and just doing his things. Yes. So he started climbing towards Mount Tur and the fire, as if it was calling him. And when he reached the fire, he heard a voice of God, Allah, telling him, please take off your shoes. This is a sacred place. And you have been appointed and selected for a special mission of being a prophet and spreading my message. Prophet Moses was awestruck. It was the most beautiful thing that could happen. And he was so grateful and so happy and thankful. And then God told him and asked him, you have to go to Egypt and give the message, my message, to the people and Pharaoh. But Prophet Moses said, God, dear God, how I'm a fugitive. I've committed a sin there. I have begged forgiveness from you. They will kill me, they'll arrest me, and I won't be able to convey your message. Said, you don't have to worry about that. We'll take care of that. He heard God say, what do you have in your hand? He said, I have this stick. I carry it everywhere because it helps me. Yeah, herd the sheep, break the branches, and I lean on it when I'm tired. God said, just throw it. And Hazrat Musa did as he was told, and he threw the staff, the stick, and it became a hissing serpent, a snake. Psst. Prophet Moses was scared. He started running. But then Allah called him back. He said, come back. You don't have to be scared. Just hold on to it. Just touch it. And Prophet Moses was scared. But he had to do what God had told him. And he touched it. And it turned into a stick again. The same staff. Prophet Moses it was a miracle. Oh my God, he could not believe that Allah was really speaking to him. And then Allah said, put your hand inside your clothes, robes, on your chest, and after a few minutes take it out. And Hazrat Musa did exactly that, and he took out his hand. Yeah, it was glowing. It was like golden rays were radiating for him. He said, this will help you also. This will be a miraculous hand. And Prophet Moses was so grateful. He went back running to his wife. They packed up and started traveling towards Egypt. Now Prophet Musa had a brother who, Hazrat Harun, who was a prophet too, and he had a vision that his brother will be coming back to Egypt soon. So he came to the outer skirts of Egypt and stood there, waiting for his brother. They were very happy to see each other. Hazrat Musa was so happy to be received by her brother. Oh, they were happy. Then Hazrat Harun took him to his home, and then the next morning, as Hazrat Musa had told him what he had come for, they went to Pharaoh's court, his kingdom. Who are these two people? Prophet Moses told him, Pharaoh's, and he told him that there was one God and we must worship him. There was no other God. And he gave Allah's message to him that how we should conduct our lives. And Pharaoh was so angry. Who said that there is another God? I'm the God. How can there be another God? I'm the richest on this land. I give food and I decide everything. But Prophet Moses and Prophet Harun, Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam said, no. When he said, then prove it to me. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam threw his stick and that became a snake. And wow, King Pharaoh was a little scared, but he didn't show it. He was very proud, very mean. He said, I have so many magicians and sorcerers who can do this. Okay, we'll have a competition. If you're able to defeat them, then let's see what we can do about what you're saying. So they were locked up in the prison. The next morning, Pharaoh had called all his magicians and wise men and his sorcerers. सब जादूगरों को उन्होंने बुलाया, right? And they were all there, right? And then they were asked to show their magic, and when they also threw their ropes, and they all became snakes, hissing and slithering. There was so many of them. There were 60, 70 magicians standing on one side, and poor Hazrat Musa alayhi salam and Hazrat Harun alayhi salam on one side. Now Pharaoh said, show me your miracle. Guess what happened? When Prophet Moses threw his... What? Yes, his staff, his stick. It became a huge serpent. And he started eating all the snakes, and it ate up all the snakes. The magicians were shocked. And then they realized that Hazrat Musa alayhi salam's power came from somewhere bigger. It was not magic. Ye jadoo nahi tha. This was not magic. This was not trickery. This was not sorcery. So they knelt down in front of Hazrat Musa alayhi salam and said, you are the bigger power. But Pharaoh was so livid. Pharaoh said, how can you do that? I'm the God. How can you kneel in front of him and respect him when I am your God? Without my permission you did it. No. But they said, no, your excellency, your majesty, he has a greater force. What he's saying is the truth. But Pharaoh was so angry. No, he would not listen to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam and Hazrat Harun alayhi salam. He refused to listen to them. And then they stayed on. And they kept trying to convert people. They would keep coming to Pharaoh and try to convince him and speak. But he would say, no, I'm the God. I'm the strongest. I'm the most powerful. I'm the richest. I give food to all my people. Then he called his cabinet and called Ham, and Ham said, no, nobody can be more powerful than you. So there were very few people who started listening to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. Most of the people believed in Pharaoh because he gave them everything. He was the God. And he was so powerful, he could do anything. And whatever he commanded was obeyed. So this is how things went. But then what happened was, there was famine. In Egypt, suddenly the crops started drying up. The wheat, the crops, the maize, the potatoes, the corn, whatever they were growing was dried up, the plants, the trees, and there was famine. There was nothing to eat. And then they realized that it was because they had not supported Prophet Moses. They went to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam and requested him and begged forgiveness because they were all committing sins and doing wrong things and were very, very cruel to Israelites. And now, whenever Prophet Moses went to Pharaoh and asked him, Pharaoh, please release the Israelites. They don't belong to you. He said, no, they belong to me. He said, they are slaves of God's, not yours. But he would not listen. And then there came the famine, like I told you. No, but then the people went running and they said they will not be cruel to Israelites, please, they begged forgiveness. So Hazrat Musa alayhi salam prayed to God, and everything came back, everything became green, things started to grow, or this famine kind of wore away, finished. But again, when they went to Pharaoh and asked to release the Israelites, he ordered no, and then he asked his soldiers to kill them, the women, the children, even if they did a mistake or they spoke against him. So this is now Hazrat Musa alayhi salam could not see this cruelty and people dying, the innocent blood being shed. He prayed to God to help him, and then there was what? Oh my God, there was a huge storm that swept everything, the trees, the houses and the people. And the people came running to Hazrat Musa alayhi salam for forgiveness, to ask God for forgiveness, right? So when they were in dire strait, when they needed help, when they were in danger, when they were suffering in pain, they would rush to Hazrat Musa. And then once he would pray, and then the storm stopped, they would turn their heads, they would turn their backs towards Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. This happened the third time. They were stormed by locusts. Oh, the plague of locusts. Zzz, it destroyed everything. There was nothing to eat. Again, they begged for forgiveness. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam prayed for the forgiveness. So the locusts flew away. Then there were lice. Oh my God, they made life miserable of people. But they promised, they begged forgiveness, the Egyptians, and did not learn from it. But last but not the least, the fifth curse came. Now Prophet Moses also was disappointed, because these people were not being honest and they were not listening to him. They were not getting the signs and the messages from God. He was so disappointed. But he kept praying, and he kept doing his good deeds with Hazrat Harun, and he kept giving Allah's messages and requesting for all. And now the last but not the least was that river Nile. Oh my God, it turned into blood. It turned red. So whenever Israelites would go for water, it would be normal water. But when an Egyptian would go, it would turn into blood. They could not drink it, they could not use it, they were in such misery. But Hazrat Musa did not listen to them this time, right? Because he was told by God, and he was told by God to take the Israelites and follow him and just leave Egypt and take them to another land, all right? So towards Sinai. So that's what they did. And so Hazrat Musa gave the message to everybody. They all collected their belongings, and in the middle of the night they started walking towards River Nile. But there was no other way. So they kept going. But in the morning, when they were discovered missing, Pharaoh sent his soldiers on horses after them. And now they were all standing at the edge of the river Nile. Hazrat Musa saw that they were trapped. There was Nile in front, and there were soldiers. They could hear the footsteps of their horses reaching them. Now, he told his fellows, Israelites, that we should pray, okay? We should be ready to give our lives in the name of God, and we are trapped. And they all knelt down and prayed. And soon, Hazrat Musa alayhi salam heard a voice who told him, throw your stick in the water. And Hazrat Musa alayhi salam exactly did that. And guess what? The water in River Nile started rolling, and in a few minutes there was a mud bath in the middle which was dry. And he was told to lead his men on the path. It was a miracle, another miracle. The prophets were blessed with miracles. Imagine in the middle of flowing the longest river in the world, Nile. They are walking over the dry path, and the waves made a wall on either sides of them to keep them safe. Now the soldiers and even Pharaoh was following because he was livid. Who could claim to be God and who could take away his slaves? He was so angry. So they were all following him and they saw with their eyes the miracle. That Hazrat Musa Hazrat Harun was leading people through the river on a dry path. It was a miracle. But he was very jealous and he said, oh, look what God has done for me. I needed a path to follow them and he's made a path. He completely denied that this was Hazrat Musa's miracle, God's miracle. And he asked his men to follow. Most of them followed, but a few stayed back. They were scared. They could not trust. Right? And so lo and behold, Hazrat Musa safely crossed the river Nile, and that's called Exodus in the history of religion. What is it called? Exodus. 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 Yes. And Pharaoh also said, come follow me, and he followed. And they had just gone a few meters, a little distance. That dry path turned into water, rolling stormy water. And soon they were rocking in the waves. Pharaoh realized he's going to die. Then he said, oh God, I believe in you. I believe in you. I know. He realized he could not stop his death. And even the people standing on the beach, on the edge of Nile were watching this, that he could not control his death. He could not stop his death. How could he be God? Oh, so he realized that, but it was too late. He was rocking and he drowned. And that was the end of his tyranny, his cruel, harsh, mean, horrible rule over Egypt. Yes, that was the end of it. All bad things come to a bad end. Always remember that. What goes around comes around. Ab acha karenge, acha paenge. Always. On the month of Ramadan, अच्छी नियत, गुड नियत, जैसे आप रोज़े के लिए नियत करते हैं और नियत से इफ्तारी करते हैं, उसी नियत के साथ, उसी तरह नियत करके you speak to your Allah and do good things. Tell the truth. Work hard. Structure your days. Charter your days. Sleep time, play time, praying time, helping time, and reading Quran time. And your day is gone. How blessed are you? And you are being blessed so many times over for that. How lucky are we? Remember me in your prayers. Is that a promise? Yes. So I hope you enjoyed the story. Right? All right. So see you next time. Not this next Sunday, the Sunday after. And I'd love to see you again. I'll miss you. Have a lovely Ramzan. Have a lovely weekend. Enjoy yourselves. So we went to Egypt today, right? Sitting right here. All right. Hafiz. Bye-bye.